Wait,
Welcome to the fourth episode and our first review from a Giants loss, or what we would call a giant loss yet again on a week one season opener, 21 to 6. Should have been a lot worse than what the score ended up being. What a disaster. What a deflating way to start the season yet again for the third straight season, not scoring a single touchdown. I am honestly speechless. I'm numb to this, and it sucks. I really don't know what else to say at this point. I mean, we do have a lot to say. This episode is going to be a very fiery episode. So buckle up. But Alex, where to even begin with this?
well, I'll say I had 7 beers yesterday and I wasn't drunk. That's how fucking stressed I was.
Yeah.
Obviously, offense, terrible. Fucking terrible. We already knew the left tackle situation was not going to be pretty because Andrew Thomas was not starting,
Yep.
but I did not expect them to play this fucking bad to the point where we couldn't even score a single touchdown, especially on that drive that the Giants took 8 minutes on, got to the end zone,
Yep.
had many chances to score, and came up with only 3 points.
Yep.
Inexcusable. Um, Now, I'm not going to say Russell Wilson played really good. He didn't play terrible, but he did what he could because, that offensive line was just shit. Not much you can do there, obviously, besides fucking running around and trying not to get sacked or killed.
Yeah. Um, the I'm gonna have different opinions on Russell Wilson that you might not. I'm not saying not calling to for him to get benched. I would say he has one more week in my head, and that's where I'm at as a Giants fan. Again, every fan's different. Um,
I give him like a week or two as well, but remember he is not gonna. I'm not gonna say he's gonna be like a drive setter, but at least he'll keep us in the game. But obviously, from what we saw yesterday, especially how our offensive line underperformed, but I give credit to Washington's front defense for stopping the run and not allowing us to score, which we as Giants fans would hope and thought that this offensive line would be better and we would be scoring just how they were scoring in the preseason.
yeah, I mean preseason hype. That's what I always said. Getting episodes, can't get too much about it. Because when the season comes, the Giants will come and they will deflate any sort of hope that you have going into the season, just like they have done the last 3 years and the three opening games where they look unprepared, unmotivated, and just don't want to act like they want to be football players out there. I mean, I'm just going to call a spade a spade. I mean, it's pathetic at this point. And to start off, with the offensive line, they were obviously a major concern. Hudson, replacing Thomas throughout this game, we knew it was not going to be good, but man, it was just a disaster. And then I'm going to go off about this one player, and many Giants fans are going to go off about, or many Giants fans have gone off about this player. And it's sad to say that I hate using the word bust, but JMS is turned into such a bust for the Giants. For Joe Shane to trade up to him on massive draft capital that we would have used to probably get maybe another defensive tackle that we would need to maybe stop this run. But no, we traded up for JMS and it has not worked out. He looks worse every single game this guy plays. He gets blown up off the line and causes chaos right in the middle. And that's not counting the other linemen that we have on the field. Illuminor is probably the best offensive linemen on the line, and that's by a mile right now. And that's I'm not saying that's without Thomas on the line, but Thomas can't stay healthy. Thomas can't be healthy and be on the line. So this is the life of the Giants for the last couple years without Thomas, and it's
In more than a couple of years. This offensive line stuff has been going on for like 10 years, dude. And it,
been well over a
I'm
decade,
getting tired.
well over a decade at this point. And this is going to go into the things. There's obviously we can go break down little plays here and there, a specific person. What I think this all goes down to is all the way to the top, which is the ownership, the Joe Shane, Brian Dable, the assistant coaches, because you can't tell me that all these players look so unprepared every single week. Like last year was the worst of the worst. And we didn't think we were going to do that again for week one again this year, but here we are again. Look unprepared. We actually have some talent around. And yet all these players just get worse and worse, which I have a problem with the development of these players because then you have players that leave the Giants and they become stars or they just become players that are able to sign second, third contracts. And then yet there were the Giants and they look like a disaster. And I'm going to call the elephant in the room, and I don't even want to say his name, but our quarterback, who we let go last year, rightfully so, went out, balled out yesterday. Again, crappy
I
team.
was sick.
We'll see what he does against the Broncos next week if this hype is real. But other than that, but this is the same pattern. We had the Saquon stuff last year. Then we have Xavier McKinney going to the Packers. It's a trend that we continuously keep seeing over the years. And then us fans and the agency that was once a proud agent or once proud organization has become a laughing stock of the NFL and have become the new Cleveland Browns. As much as it pains me to say it as a fan, and it pains me to even say that out loud, but I'm at the point where I'm so done and frustrated with how this team has been from the top because now it has affected the bottom, which is the players. Because the coaching, you're telling me we went through all these coaching changes, GM changes, and like you said, Alex, this line, the offensive line has been an issue for over a decade now. It's ridiculous. Like you're telling me, no, not everybody in the NFL has top stars in the NFL as linemen. They have guys that can just play the position and they're able to just survive throughout the year. You can't tell me without being having Andrew Thomas on the line the offensive line will just turn into a disaster. Like there's teams all the time that lose offensive linemen all year, and they still play fine and they make the playoffs and they make it work. But the Giants, it's like taking a Lego from the bottom of the Lego set and the whole Lego just collapses because that's how about the offensive line does. It's ridiculous at this point. I mean, I'm gonna let you talk about it a little bit, but man, I'm just pissed at this point of how this team has looked over the years.
Yeah, I don't know if it's from a coaching standpoint that I don't know if they're not coaching like the players now and the ones that we've lost to different teams where now they're doing so much better. Like I don't know if it's like we need new coaches that, that will do better coaching than the ones that we have now. Um but yeah, seeing Daniel Jones freaking play phenomenal and then Russell Wilson play like how DJ should have played is very concerning. And then offense, you know what? I'm pissed off. I don't even want to talk about the offense. We already know what the offense is. And I mean, even though it is game like the first game of the season, hopefully next game they turn it around. But if it continues like this, man, it's going to be a fucking long year again and the same problems.
Yeah.
So far, I think it's the same issues that we had many seasons. And from the first game, it looks like it's going to continue. Hopefully, it doesn't. Hopefully, they turn it around and play better, and But something's gotta do. Um, gotta like click in that locker room, in the offense, make some plays, block better, get that run game going. We need something.
Yeah. I mean, what I don't like. what they have a major issue with already. First quarter, we have Dable and Neighbors arguing, and then Dable tried to dab him up, and he just completely ignored him. Russell Wilson later goes in around the second quarter. They're thrown on the bench trying to talk about film, and Neighbors is completely ignoring Wilson. People want to go on the internet and call, Neighbors a diva and all that stuff like that. I don't care. I want a guy
It's
that's
just the
passionate.
competitiveness.
Yeah. I'm not. I mean, I don't want these Giants fans pushing him out just like they did with Odell because I'm one of Odell's biggest supporters, and he should never have left. Um, yes, the interview that Odell did years ago was not a smart idea, but it is what it is. Like, it's really not that deep. Um,
He just wants to win, and as us fans, we want to win. I can only imagine from a player standpoint that they hate losing. They've been losing for fucking many years. They want to turn it around. They want to do better. They want to get something going for the team, and they want to like give a spark. And that's what you can see in Neighbors is that he wants to be that game changer and be a leader, and that's what I like about Neighbors. So for the people that bashing him, saying like, "Oh, he's going to be a diva" and all this, he's not going to be a diva. He's not causing any issues yet, but I can see that fireness in him and competitiveness.
yeah,
And same with Dable. They're clashing heads because they're both competitive.
yeah. Well, Dable's going to be clashing heads soon because he's not going to be on this team because he's going to be fired soon, and he's the guy that's going to be fired in the season if he continues to coach the way he does. Because the play calling to the way he handles just the practices, because again, like I've said in previous episodes, there's teams that have gone and reporters that have gone to Giants practices and they say it's like a vacation compared to what any other NFL team, practices are consisted of. And that's been around since Dable's been around. Then you had Joe Judge that came around who was very hard-headed and made them run sprints and was very hard pushing, more of like a Bill Belichick type of way. But then you have Brian Dable comes around, he's more, I want to be your friend. I want to be close with every player, but that's only so good for so long. And that train has totally left the train track way many years ago. And now we're at a point where, like you said, we're at the same, it's deja vu. It's deja vu again. And I, as a fan, can't go through this again. Like I'll stick to this team. I love this team, to the day I die, but I don't gotta condone to watch this crappy of a football team every single week who when we watch every other NFL team that looks like light years. The Giants don't even look like they belong in the league the way they run their offense. It looks they look all frantic, they look scared, and they look confused. And then what happened to the screen game that was happening all of the preseason? They just totally escaped that. And because screenplays can at least build some momentum and build some, plays in regards of getting down the field. The Giants were just stagnant the whole entire game, besides those two red zone plays. But again, 13 plays at the 1 yard line, and you couldn't punch it in. Couldn't punch it in. It's pathetic. It's pathetic. It's sad. And then you got Mike Kafka calling plays now. And then you have Lyman going out for passes. And then you wonder why Neighbors is losing his mind. Like that's what you're going to draw up. Like you're going to draw up a lineman going out to go get a pass when you got a star one receiver out there not even going to attempt to throw maybe a fade in the corner of the end zone, just at least throw an attempt. Because again, that's what Russell Wilson came here for. He's known for his fades. He's known for his corner routes. He didn't do that the entire game. And then this is where I'm going to go off what you said before to counter offer what you said with Wilson. Wilson looked like shit. Sorry for my language, but he looked terrible. I know the offensive line was a lot of the issue, but he ran into a lot of the sacks. He looked frantic. He looked uncomfortable in the pocket and he did not read the middle of the field at all. And there were several plays that were Theo Johnson, Slayton, to Neighbors being open, and he, as soon as the ball was snapped, he was frantic in the pocket and was moving around, moving up towards the lineman, getting sacked, which caused negative yards for the Giants. again, I know the lineman played a role into it, but Wilson is nowhere near off the clear on my label right here. And this is why I'm giving him one more game for a leash. And if he does the same exact stuff against Dallas, that's it. Like you could sit on the bench for the rest of the year, buddy.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what you got to say about that, but like I said, I'm coming in firing this episode. I got so much things to get off my chest about this team and the frustration of this organization as a whole, not even just this game, but this organization as a whole has become a dumpster fire, and we are the New York Cleveland Browns right now. So,
Yeah. Uh, we'll see how we do against the Cowgirls. And if it's worse against the Cowgirls, then I don't even know. I won't even know what to say.
well, the Giants' offensive line allowed 8 quarterback hits, 2 sacks, and 7 tackles. Like I said, you can't. Like again, the offensive line was terrible, and that's a nice word to say, terrible. And then to go off the via the Doug Rush from Twitter, James Hudson from PFF rating was ranked 55 overall,
Hmm.
0 sacks allowed, 2 hits, 4 hurries, 6 pressures allowed. Then you had John Runyon, 63.5 overall, 1 sack allowed, 0 hits, 2 hurries, 3 pressures allowed. John Michael Schmitz, again, what I discussed about before, a guy that we traded up a draft capital for, 58.1 overall, 0 sacks allowed, 2 hits, 2 hurries, 2 pressures allowed. Greg Van Run, 6'1", 61.2 overall, 0 sacks allowed, 1 hit, 1 hurry, 1 pressure allowed. And then Jermaine Illuminor, 0 sacks allowed, 0 hurries, 1 hit, 1 pressure allowed. The ratings, terrible. The line from top to bottom, terrible. You couldn't you could not develop a running game at all in that game. The linemen were back there immediately, and then the pass game, forget about it. It was just a disaster from, like I said, from top to bottom. I don't think you could have wished or even seen a worse of a game to start off the season like this. I expected some competitiveness and maybe even a close game, but man, it was just absolutely defeating as a fan, absolutely defeating as a team. And you see it already in the locker room. You see it already. You see the writing on the wall, how this is going to go.
Well, we can keep bashing on the offensive woes and how terrible they are and whatnot, but we can move on to defense.
Yeah. Where do you want to
Bring
put that?
bring some light into this because I feel like if we keep talking about the offense, we're just gonna depress ourselves right here. And yeah, um, defense saw flashes, pressures and sacks and stuff like that. Obviously gave up 21 points, but you're tired. You're the offense is getting the defense tired. You can only do so much. You know, you
Yeah.
go three and out, defense is back out. You got to give them more time to rest up and everything. But I think the defense did pretty solid. Not the greatest, but at least we had some sacks in there. Brian Burns sacked, Abdul Carter, Kayvon.
Yep.
We had some pressures there. So Cordell Flott, man.
Yeah, he had a more up game than down.
Yeah.
Um Definitely is, it's interesting. Deontay Banks only got 11 plays throughout the whole game.
Hmm.
Which is again going from the top bottom. There's really not a lot of positives to say, so I'm on this negative train. I'm going on this negative train. I'm staying on it. It goes from Joe Shane again. Drafted this guy to be the cornerback, maybe possibly one for us, and he's sitting on our bench. And again, I'm not saying he doesn't deserve it. But that just speaks more about Joe Shane and their drafting philosophy. And we have Darius Slane, never been targeted in the game. You just paid the man.
He
And then
played a good amount, majority of the snaps.
you paid
If
more
I'm
than all the
if
receivers.
I'm correct, if from what I read, he played about 90 something percent
Yeah.
of offensive snaps and hasn't been targeted once.
Yeah. And then uh the boy Jalen Hyatt didn't even touch the field once. So what is the point of having him on the roster as a as a roster spot? Because you're wasting. We're doing the same exact rodeo we did last year, where he does not play for the year. He's going to get pissed and he's going to want to get traded, rightfully so. But the kid doesn't deserve to be on the field. I said he should have been cut in our episode. Not saying that I wish for anybody to lose their job, but you could just tell the writing's on the wall. They make things so obvious from the outside for the fans to even see. And you could tell they're not a fan of Jalen Hyatt. He's a one-trick pony, and now you're not even going to play him at all. Like, not even throw him out there for maybe a block. Like, it's crazy to me. Like, you're wasting a roster spot on somebody that we could have maybe used for a lineman. How about that? Like, just another lineman to have. But again, they're so bad at developing linemen that they don't have anybody else to go to. So now we're going to pick up street scraps again, which they did again today. They picked up a center from the Ravens from the practice squad. It's like, what is that going to do? Like, the damage is done. What, you panic now? Like, oh wow, now we're back to square one again. So it's like this goes back to, I'm happy for Cordell Flott, but again, that goes back to Deontay Banks was a first overall pick, man. First overall pick for us. And he's sitting on the bench, and reports are coming out right before the game. I don't know if you saw this. Reports came out right before the game stating that the coaches are basically moved on from him from the inside. The agency, like the organization, has moved on from him already internally, and that he has a lot of growing up to do. So I don't know what happened last year. I know we saw some stuff that we talked about on previous episodes of him like giving up on plays and just acting like a kid. But a lot of these people forget that, like, yes, they're men to us, but these kids are coming into the league making millions of dollars as like 21-year-olds, 20-year-olds. They're still kids learning to be adults, and they were just given adult money. Again, this is their job, but it's like to see this organization give up on this kid already. Same with Jalen Hyatt. And now it's starting, and Evan Neal. Like, we see the pattern here. And guess who drafted all these players? Joe Shane and Brian Dable, which is why they should have fired them last year. They should never have brought them back this year as the coach and the GM, because now we're going to be stuck in the same carousel where we're going to have Dart. I'm not saying Dart is going to be a bust. I'm not saying that. But this is how we ended up with the Daniel Jones fiasco for 6 years. Daniel Jones was drafted, then the coach was fired, and then he got new offensive coordinator 3 years in a row, then new coaches all these years in a row, and then the kid was just set up to fail. And now we're looking possibly in the same situation. If the season is going the way it's looking like, Jackson Dart is going to be with a new coach and a new GM next year with a guy who they didn't draft and maybe didn't even want. So this GM and coach could come in next year and be like, well, I didn't draft this kid, so I don't care about him. Because that's what GM and coaches do. And then guess what? We're going to be stuck in the same fiasco yet again. So it's sickening at this point, just from top to bottom, like I said.
Uh, yeah, I agree with all those valid points you just gave. I don't even want to think about it. Like I said before, it's only been one game, but we can tell where we're heading, and hopefully we don't head that path.
Yeah. I mean,
Can only go up from here, and hopefully not down.
the schedule doesn't help. Starting the season with two division games back to back, both of them being away, is not good. And I had them picked to lose against Dallas, and Dallas looked better than expected against the Eagles, and they should have beat the Eagles, to be honest. If those CD Lamb drops, didn't happen. But guess what? CeeDee Lamb's going to catch all those passes against the Giants on Sunday because we don't get that lucky with against players. Players will catch every single ball against us and they will make the best plays, and we will do historically bad things as an organization. As what? We are the first team since 1940 who hasn't scored a touchdown for 3 consecutive seasons for the first game. That's impressive. It is impressive and it's pathetic.
Well, defense got to bring that pressure. Dak Prescott isn't no Jaden Daniels, so
Yeah, that I mean that I will give you. Jaden Daniels is the elite of the elite. And Jaden Daniels unfortunately is in our division and he is a force to be reckoned with, a future
it's
NFL
very
MVP.
hard to cover.
Yeah, very fast. He's like a Lamar Jackson, but in our division now.
Yeah.
So exciting. Uh,
So I give the kid props, but yeah, if we got to bring the pressure, because like I said, Dak Prescott isn't no Jaden Daniels, so feel we give him more pressure, you know, giving them hard, they won't be having those plays hopefully, and you know, we'll see. We'll see what happens this week.
yeah, the one thing I can't stand is Shane Bowen, the defensive coordinator on the Giants.
Playing too soft. Then again, like one of the announcers said, you gotta go, you gotta play soft for at least for Jaden Daniels, like because if you go man, you're covering everyone except the quarterback. And Jaden Daniels, we already know what he does best is attack you with his feet, even when receivers are covered. He will fucking run you down. Phenomenal player,
Yeah,
but you know,
I just don't get the whole having a Carter be sitting out and then QB spying here and there. He's the best player, one of the best players on the defense by far, behind Dexter Lawrence, who was very quiet the entire game and did really nothing. So I can't really bash him because Dexter
he
Lawrence,
did get like double teamed.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. He's coming off an injury, but he hasn't really practiced all year right throughout the summer again, which I'm going to give him a pass for a game, but I can't give him a pass for another game. Because again, by that time, we could be 0-2 in the division, and the season could be over by Halloween yet again. And then we know the following week we open at home, possibly being 0-2 in the division, not even just 0-2 in general, but 0-2 in the division, and then opening up against the Kansas City Chiefs, who are playing the Philadelphia Eagles this week. So if they go 0-2, the Giants are the team that they're the get right team. As much as I even hate saying it, the teams look at the Giants and like, all right, like we've been in a slump, but we'll get right with the Giants. Like the Giants will boost our ego again. And that's exactly what we have turned into, which again is the New York Cleveland Browns. And it's sad and it kills me to say it as a fan, but deep down, I'm not going to pay money to go see this atrocious offensive play calling like we did. I mean, how many games have we gone to last year and the years before, you and I? And it's the same stuff. No touchdowns. Defense picks up here and there, but the defense becomes deflated because the offense literally does not score. And we're not even being dramatic. It's literally out there. The Giants just do not score in the red zone and do not score touchdowns. I don't know if they're allergic to it, but they got to start taking some allergy medicine at this point because,
They got to start coming up with some better plays,
yeah,
yeah, at least for Malik Neighbors.
yeah. I mean, get your player involved. Like again, what happened with the screens that we were doing in the game? If the run game wasn't working, use the screen game to open up maybe some of the runs. But again, like we're just the play calling was just atrocious. It was atrocious. And Russell Wilson didn't help the situation either. Dart's going to be people are already calling for Dart's name after the first half. You and I mean, I forgot what you said, who I projected that he would start under 5 games. But I
I
think
said I think I said after week 5, I believe.
Yeah, I
Or,
think you said just over. Yeah. So
oh,
it's looking realistic that they're going, Jackson Dart might be starting for our opening home opener on Sunday Night Football. And because you
he
already,
does. It's gonna be, it's gonna be very interesting. And also, this is definitely, different from what we're talking about. But Kansas just lost another receiver too to injury, because
yeah,
so got to keep that in mind.
yeah, no, it's true. Like I said, we just Jaden Daniels is a different beast. Um, but how can I even be hopeful with how this team has carried themselves for the last year, going on a year and a half now, on how this team has carried themselves on the field? And then they wonder why planes are flying over the stadium. Fans are wearing bags over their heads. Fans are embarrassed to even wear Giants gear outside anymore because of just how a dumpster fire they have been for so long now. And I can't defend them. It's hard. It's really hard. I am a Giants defender till the day I die, but I can't. It's getting hard out there on the battlefield out there for us
Yeah,
Giants fans. Like the defense, Bobby Okereke. We're on the defense a little bit. Bobby Okereke. He looks like a guy, and we discussed this too on the last couple episodes. He's a guy that looks like he's on the outside looking in too. He had his worst game as a New York Giant yesterday, just planting his feet in the wrong directions, running up, missing tackles, missing players. I know we lost Micah McFadden. We'll get a medical update, with him tomorrow, is what
not a
Dave.
broken leg though. He can return. We just don't know the extent yet for
Yeah,
injury.
but it's supposedly it's not going to be good. It might be ligament stuff, so that's even worse than just having a broken leg. So we'll see what happens with that tomorrow. We don't doesn't look like Andrew Thomas might be back this week. So it just I don't know how to be hopeful at this point for this upcoming week for the Giants game. I'm going to root for them, I'm going to watch them, but man, like I said, I am not going to pay a single penny to go out there and watch them at this point because I paid so much money. I was a season ticket holder in 2015, 16, 17, 18, and they were dog shit days for the Giants. And I was there at every game, snow, rain, everything. And then I've been to a lot of games after that. And now you're at a lot of games now.
Or
And
to my fiance, but this might be the last year that we are gonna be, or she is gonna be season ticket holder, because now we gotta save for a wedding.
yeah,
But yeah, I mean, I'll be at majority of the games with her, but
but it's
if
been a
it keeps going
disaster.
like this,
Yeah.
you know,
Stadiums are empty by the third quarter, if lucky. You and
yeah,
I,
I've left before around the third quarter.
yeah, been there, done that. I mean, it's exhausting at this point. So I'm just hoping for like the one thing that I never all I want is just a competitive football team. And I know you want that too. Give us a game that's competitive. Don't go out there and make a fool out of yourselves as an organization. And that's what they continuously keep doing every year. They make a fool out of themselves. They look unprepared. They don't look like they want to be on the field. But then every offseason, they're like, oh, everything's great. Things are great. And then season or week one comes and it's like, what happened? So it's like at this point, it's just don't make a fool out of like the organization because that's what I feel like the players have done for the last couple of years. Has just made a fool out of the Giants organization, and it just continuously been the laughing stock for all of us.
Sorry, Lauren's dogs are kind of crazy right now. I
No,
just want to be like,
no, you're good. Do you have anything else to add, or
oh,
we want to move on, erase this week, go on to Sunday, our one against the Dallas Cowboys?
yeah, let's move on from this terrible weekend. Guess we can finish it off and predict what will happen this weekend. Well, I mean, we already made our predictions. I think you predicted that
So
the Giants were going to lose. I predicted that they were going to win. So you have one up on me. Um, But yeah, looks like for next week, man, we'll see what happens. Hopefully they fucking play better football and, I don't even know, turn it around,
Yeah,
play better, block better,
you
get
could.
the run game going, man. Because if the run game, if you start off with no run game, get the pass play going. But if you can't get the run game or the pass playing going, then we're done. We're
Yeah,
cooked.
yep. And yeah, the calling, the dart symbol is already getting put out there like the Batman symbol right now. The light's on. It just depends when he will arrive, and it is coming. You see the shadow in the near flying over.
Who
And
knows? Depending on how I guess Russell Wilson plays, maybe we might see Dart play second half.
that's why I have a if it ends up being how he was throughout this game, I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't. But we will see on the next episode of MedLife Mike Talk next week after we review the win or the loss against the Dallas Cowboys as they play with them at their stadium at 1 o'clock. We will be back next Monday. Your boys, Alex and Alec. Please like, subscribe, follow, comment. We'll be uploading these videos in the next week on Apple Podcast as well. Appreciate the love, the support from everybody. Thank you for everybody that's following us. It's going to be possibly another long season, but we will be here.
A hell of a ride.
But we will be here the whole way through.
Let's keep our spirits high. Let's just pray that we fucking beat some cowgirl ass.
Yeah, I hope so. I hope so because they have had our number for many years too. So, guess we will see. But again, thanks guys for watching. We'll be back next week. We out.
With either good news or bad news.